Welcome to another Figuring Out Japan video. We sell the coolest Japanese collectibles. But today, we're actually going to be reviewing a Lego Pirate series. And I guess this is a personal project of mine. After seeing the 2015 Legos, I thought, you know what? I really love the vintage Legos. That's what I grew up with. That's what I wanted. And after, staring at pictures of a set like this for 20 plus years, I finally bit the bullet and bought it, and it's an absolutely great set. So the set that we're actually looking at in front of us is set 6273, and it's known as the Rock Refuge, and it's also known as Port Jamaica, depending on what part of the world you're from. I remember my catalogue as a kid would say Port Jamaica. And it was released in 1991, so it was sort of the start of the second phase of pirates, but you can see that the soldiers actually have the blue coat variety, which were part of the first lot. But so I didn't really know what series they belong to, but because I remember seeing them in the catalog with the red coats as well, so it was sort of a bit of a transition phase there for Lego, but the design is pretty similar. And this has 381, sorry, I'm moving the camera around a bit, 381 pieces, and it retailed back then for $66 US. Now, my parents back then just could not afford a set like this. I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there that were in the same situation. And I actually did a little bit of analysis. I'm going to throw some numbers at you here. But I worked out that at 3% inflation over, this set was released in 1991, so over 24 years, it's now 2015, $66 US back then was about 130 US dollars today. So, this is a relatively expensive set. Now, to put it also in perspective, this set actually has, maybe I'll start to zoom in a bit because you're getting bored of seeing the same thing. This set actually has 381 pieces. Now, as a comparison, in 2015, the new Lego Pirate ship that was released retails for $99.99, so $100 US, and it has 745 pieces. So what that means is the average price per piece for set 70413, which was the ship released in 2015, has an average price of 13.4 cents per piece, whereas on an inflation basis, this sold for about 34 cents per piece. That's inflation adjusted in today's terms. So people think Lego is expensive today. At least by that calculation, it was about 2.5 times more expensive back then on a per piece basis. So these sets were expensive. So anyway, let's have a look at the actual set. So firstly, this set has actually been modified a little bit from the original. So firstly, the soldier's ship, or boat I should say, the sail should be blue and white. Whereas you can see here clearly it's black and white, but the sail shape is the same. Secondly, the blue base, so you've got one base piece and then you've got the other one which starts from here to here, is actually only half the size. So you only get one half the size. And obviously I've added a lot more soldiers here, but the original set has 2 imperial soldiers, which is one of these guys, the standard guy, and then you've got one of the sergeant guys. He gets to have a beard and epaulettes on his shoulders and that sort of stuff, the guy in the foreground there. So all the others, and if you're counting them, well, I'll let you count them and I'll give you the answer at the end. There are a certain number of extras in here. But the original one has, and anything else, it does actually have a string as well, which I do have, but I haven't attached. And that goes from there to through here, and it has a hook to get the treasure and stuff. And what else was there? Yeah, I had some extra pieces and I just kind of tacked them on willy-nilly. So I think this one, for example, and maybe a couple in here. So if you see a couple of extra things, they are there. you're not imagining it. Okay, so let's actually get to reviewing the set. So firstly, you get a boat for the Imperial soldiers, and it's a red boat, which was standard back then. And it does actually come with a flag on the top, which this guy is holding. So that goes onto the top of there. And then you also get this raft. And I really like this raft, actually. I think there were a couple of similar sets to this one. With a similar design, and the oar actually moves up and down, so that's a nice little touch. And then you get a shark, which came with a lot of the sets actually, and you also got a red bird and a monkey, so plenty of wildlife. And in terms of the actual minifigures that you get in this set, so as I said, you get one standard soldier and then like a sergeant. And then you get this pirate, you get that pirate, you get this pirate, you get the woman pirate in here. It's pretty hard to tell she's a woman, but she's kind of got a bra thing and some lipstick. And then Captain Roger, which you got in lots and lots of sets back then. He was pretty common. So there's pretty much not much going on in this base. It's just basically water. And then here you've sort of got like a jetty wharf thing, which is actually pretty cool. It's sort of angled as well, and it hugs the rock, so it's a nice little touch. And you get a barrel, and there's a sword in there you can see, and then some cannonballs. And then you get this cannon. I like this touch. It's sort of built up fort, and then a cannon on wheels. And the cannon does shoot, and it actually shoots really well. But I think in the American one releases, it didn't shoot, and they put like a cannon, they put like two cross swords on the cannon to sort of compensate, I guess, for that. But yeah. So then you've got this base, and unfortunately Lego don't seem to like to release sets of bases anymore, but this base actually appeared also in the Eldorado Fortress and also the Trading Post, which from memory was set 6276 and 6277, I think. And although this one has green rocks, which is pretty cool, and you got the water pattern as well, so it's pretty cool. So as we go up here, you get this sort of brick fort part, and then as we go in, there's really not much going on in there because of the mold. There's a big gap in there, and it's always interesting how they sort of cover this in the different sets, but that just lifts up, and it's pretty hard to get around here. There's basically nothing in there. It's just like a storage. I think we got a gun in there, just like a storage facility. So it's nothing special. And there is actually a prison around the back, but it's really small. You could just fit in a minifigure, so they probably should have made it a bit bigger. And then you got the bars there, and I'll show you that from the other side, so you can see the bars in there. So it's pretty empty inside there, basically. So then we have the stairs that go up to the second level, and in the second level we have, again, basically not a lot going on, but there is actually a kitchen, and it's pretty hard to show, but there is a little clear red piece and a little fry pan, and then this sort of angled, I know it's out of focus, this angled chimney. I think that little grey stud wasn't meant to be there. So that was a nice little touch, and I put the treasure chest there because the instructions showed it like right near the cannon, which we can't have, can we? Because the soldiers just take it. So yeah, nice little touch there with the kitchen, but otherwise not much going on. And then you have this rope bridge that sort of goes to a bit of a lookout, I guess, or a place that you can, shoot and do stuff. So yeah, and then you have the very top, which is basically is a ropeway, and that connects to these, I don't know, what would you call it, rigging or rope that goes all the way down to the bottom. So you can't actually get from level 2 to the top level directly. It's a bit silly. Now that seems pretty common in sets today, but back then, it wasn't. They usually did actually have a small ladder, or, they did things properly. Same with the prison. you know, a lot of the newer sets now, like the back of the prison will be open, but you know, back then they did it properly. They enclosed it, so that was a bit odd even back then. But anyway, and then you've got a parrot flag at the top, of course. So in terms of, you know, what I think of this set, it's really cool. You know, after staring at pictures for it, I mean, I'd never seen the real thing until I actually got it, and it is a really, really nice looking set. This set is basically the big brother of the Forbidden Island, which from memory is set 6270, which was released in the original ones. So things like the, you know, the rope bridge, and you know, these sort of rope parts, and just the kind of general, you know, design and feel of it. It's like a more advanced version of that set, and it really is nice and improved. And I believe even today this is the largest pirate base that's ever actually been released from Lego. And the Forbidden Island, I guess, is more of sort of an outpost or a hidden outpost, whereas this is like a proper base, and it does look really good. But I guess looking at it now from like through an adult's eyes rather than a kid's eyes, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't have a lot of stuff inside. But, you know, because you've got all the leaves and that sort of stuff, it does actually look, you know, it does look really good. It looks sort of, I don't know if Caribbean's the right word, but it just seems really piratey. And, you know, if you add some more, you know, minifigures and stuff as well, you can make it look really good. So, you know, overall, I just really